In today's video, we're going to do a little bit of gardening. I'm going to make hangers for this pot. I don't think this was designed to be a hanger, and it is a little bit big, but the pots I have are too small and I need a bigger pot. My porch is filled with petunias, but I need to repot a couple of them because that pot is too small. I really like this big pot here, but I went to Walmart and they didn't have any more hanging pots. It didn't have plants already in them. So I'm going to repot these, and since I couldn't find any hangers with the right size pot, I'm going to make my own hangers. I found these pots, which probably are designed to sit down on the ground, on the floor, or a table, but I'm going to turn them into hanging potters. It might be a little bit on the big side. And the color isn't exactly my color scheme, but a little more color wouldn't hurt. And I'm going to make my own hangers with a little bit of macrame so that these pots can hang. And that's my project for today. Earlier in the spring, somebody gave me a pot of amaryllis, and it had some voluntary petunias in it. And so I took them out and put them in here, and I didn't have a burlap sack to put in my little basket, so I made one out of fabric. I am a person who, if there's a problem, there's got to be a solution. And most of the time, I could figure out a way to make things myself. I'll show you that clip now. I didn't have any burlap, and I didn't feel like running to the store. So I looked in my fabric stash and found this fabric, and I am making a cover for this planter. I suppose, you know what, about the time that it takes me to do this, I might have been able to go to Walmart and buy one, but I just didn't feel like going anywhere. And hey, if I can make do with what I have, I mean, I didn't pay for this fabric. The fabric was donated to me, so I could do whatever I want with it, right? It's not the prettiest of fabric. It's not burlap. It's some kind of woven fabric. It might even be, well, but it's not wool. It might shrink in the weather. Well, I'm securing it here so it doesn't get thrown away like the last one. My husband likes to throw things away. Because I was given a plant today, and it has some petunias that they need more sunlight. And I'm going to plant the petunias in here and let them drape down over the edge. I have petunias here and there, there. They like sun, so this will be a good location to put them. But it might get cold tonight. It was chilly last night, so I won't plant them until the morning. The sun is setting, so I just want to get this done, and in the morning I will come out, well, that's if it's not too cold, and I will plant those petunias right here. And hopefully this works. I hear the neighbor's chickens. My chickens are quiet. I think my chickens have gone to bed tonight. They've had big changes today. We got rid of 2 extra roosters. I was going to slaughter them, but somebody asked for them. And I said, wonderful, how many do you want? Because tomorrow was going to be my designated day to cut off their heads and process them, because my poor ladies, 3 roosters is too many roosters for my chicken flock. So many of the backs of my chickens are without feathers, and I feel bad for them. So the ladies will now have a break. So I'm using an upholstery needle. It's a curved needle, and some button thread, some strong thread to, yeah, I'm sewing fabric to a piece of iron. I used little clips to help hold the fabric in place while I secure this. Do you hear the woodpecker? The woodpecker is right up there. His favorite spot. He's like there every day, pecking away at the top of that tree. The top of the tree is dead. Petunias that I replanted that was mixed in with another pot of flowers, they have survived fine, and I love having them. First thing I think I need to do is make a couple of holes in the bottom of this. It has a punch hole. It says to do it with a screwdriver. Oh, look at this. There's a warning on the bottom of this pot. Warning, children can fall into planter and drown. I suppose it's big enough. Keep children away from planters with even a small amount of liquid. They must think we're really stupid. I'm going to fill it with dirt and a plant. It's not going to have a lot of water. It's not likely that a child can drown in it. But you know what? After 2020 and 2021, I think people are stupid. So maybe these kind of warnings are needed. So let's go put some holes in the bottom of this thing. Some holes. Okay, that was pretty easy. Why the safety glasses? Well, I'm in my workshop, and first of all, I needed a ring to make the hanger on, but the local shops in town, they didn't have any metal rings or wood rings, so I looked around my house, and the only thing I had were these wooden tires that I had used for toys. So my husband and I figured out how to cut out the center of it, and we used this to cut out the center, but holding this, we put it in the vise, and now I'm using the Dremel to sand around the edges to make it smooth so it doesn't have sharp edges. My ring. I'm using this device so that will hold my ring so I can work from it. I have my strings, my jute cut. I have 8 strings. Put my 8 strings through the loop, the ring it's going to be, and I'm going to pull them so that the ends meet at the other end. We have 8 strings. They will be divided into 4 and 4 and 4, so that there'll be 4 what we'll call legs. But before we do that, we need to secure it. So we put this up here like that, and then we make a loop so it comes down and up, and then we're going to start wrapping to create a knot. This piece is really longer than it needs to be. You know, you could have a piece about 12 to 18 inches long. This is a little simple macrame project. I used to do macrame when I was a teenager. I haven't actually done it in a long time, but I've thought about getting back into it because I think some of the things are really cool. So, but here I actually am dealing with needing something. See my loop? This loop, I'm just gonna go around, I don't know. I think that's probably good enough. And my string is actually way too long. Okay, so then we take the end of this piece and put it through the loop. Put it through the loop, okay? And then take the short piece and pull it up until the loop comes all the way. I want to make sure that's tight. Pull so that it pulls the knot right there up inside. Then we can cut this off because we don't want that little loose end sticking out. And this, now which one was it? Okay, I found it. So we will cut this off. Okay, then we're going to divide it into 4 sections, but we'll just start with the first one. For our first leg, we start with 4 strings, and we're just going to do a square knot. The 2 in the middle will stay stationary. The 2 on the outside will be our working ones. We're going to start on the right, and it crosses over on top. So the one on the left will cross over underneath. Okay, because this is underneath, it's going to come up and towards the back. And because this is on top, it needs to come up behind and out through the front. And then we ease it upward, pushing it up and tightening it. We're just going to keep repeating that. What's going to happen is this whole thing is going to start to spiral. So keeping these 2 center, right side crossing over the front, left side crossing over behind, and because this is behind, bring it to the front and through that loop, and because this is on top, bring it behind and pull it through the loop towards this direction. And then we just kind of ease it up, push it up, tighten it, and we're just going to keep going just like that. This is just a basic, simple square knot in the craft of macrame. The history of macrame originates in the 13th century when Arab weavers created complicated hand-knotted head decorations to protect their horses from flies and to decorate their houses. See, it's starting to twist already. If we always start with the one on the right on the top, you will get a spiral. You can do it flat, but I kind of like the spiral look. Over the top, behind, from going through the loop towards the back, coming from the back towards the front, through the loop, slide it up and easing the sides. See how it's starting to spiral? Now you're probably wondering, if we always start on the right, what happens when it spirals? It's okay, we'll get to that in just a minute. I'm going to stay with this for right now. It is starting to spiral. And this is really the simplest basic stitch. in macrame. The art of macrame spread from Italy and Spain over the whole world on the sailing ships of the 14th and 15th century. To front. See how it's spinning? All right, it's starting to spin. So now I'm looking at this side. I'm gonna work from this side instead of that side because we were kind of working on that side. Same thing. This is the right. Cross over the front. The left goes underneath. This is behind, so it has to go towards the back. This is on the front, so it has to come from behind to the front. Sailors made macrame objects in and off hours while at sea and sold or bartered them when they landed, thus spreading the art to places like China and the New World. Now, I measured the space that I have to hang the pot. I measured the height of my pot, and I did a little math. I have a maximum 34 inches. But I don't want the thing to hang all the way to the banister. So I did a little math, and so I sort of made a rough estimate of how long I want the basket for, the basket holder. I measured from the very top of the ring, 10 inches exactly, so I'm done with this for now. Okay, so the next 4. Every time you do an arm, you always want 4 strings. You have to do everything in multiples of 4. Since we started with 8 strings, 8 folded over here is doubled up, so that's 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So you have 4 each. So we'll just do the same thing here. Right? I mean, top, bottom. This is in the back, so it has to go over the front. This is, make sure it's this one coming across. Make sure these two stay straight. This is on top, so it has to come up from behind. Ease it up, and we'll just do the same thing. And I'm going to do this until I get to 10, then I'll do 4 more and do it till I get to 10 inches from the top of the ring to here. You can do it longer, but this is what I did on the other basket, the other holder, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. All right, I have done the 4 arms, so now I'm ready for the next thing. Here is a critical point. When you are going to put a basket in, you need to, the hole that's going to be here needs to be big enough for the basket to fit in. If you don't think about that, you might do it and you can't get your basket put in. So I want this to be about 13 more inches plus this 10, so that's 23 inches. Let's go 13. Okay, right here. I'll grab 2, and then let's see if I can fit this in between. I need to be able to get this through there. Okay, it works. So 13 inches. Now, I'm looking at the 2 arms. What I want is take the 2 from this arm and the 2 from this arm. You want the 2 that are closest to each other. I'm going to measure down 13 inches. Now this will vary depending on the size of your basket. So 13 inches, right about here. And I'm going to make a square knot, the same thing. This crosses over the right, crosses over the top, the left crosses behind. This is behind, so it needs to go over the front towards the back. And this is the front, so it needs to come up from behind. Let me just check my measurement again. Just make sure that I am at the place where I want to be. Yes. Okay, now we'll just do, hold on, let me just tighten it up just a wee bit. I might have just adjusted it. So let me check that measurement again. 13, okay. And front, behind, from the front to the back. And from the back to the front. I just secure that. Okay, and we go to the next 4. So we used from this arm, we used those 2. Now we're going to use these 2. We'll go to the next. The 2 that are closest, take the 2 that are closest to each other, and we want to measure, make sure it's right about 13, right about here. This is a good thing to test. Make sure that the pot can fit through this gap. Okay, it will work. Okay, now the next one, I want it to be 5 inches from this knot. Now I've got these 2 sides with the 2 knots. I want to join these two and those two so that it makes sort of a diamond pattern. And I want it to be 5 inches down. So right about here. Okay, and we're going to just do a square knot again. Right over the top, left behind, bring this up and back, and bring this from behind to the front. Let's check that before we do the other half of the square knot. I got it a little long, so that means we need to slide it up just a little bit. Oops, I might have tightened it too much. Check it again. I did, I pulled it a little too much. Okay, there, I'm happy with that. We'll finish off that knot. We're almost done. Queen Mary actually taught the art of macrame to her ladies in waiting. Okay, I just did this one, so now I have to take these two and the first two on this side, and I want them to be at 5 inches. Okay, over here, make sure I know which one's the centerpiece. Okay. Macrame was most popular in the Victorian era. It adorned most homes in items such as tablecloths, bedspreads, and curtains. We're almost ready to the last knot. In here. I just want to make sure everything's good. Right, I want my knot 2 inches from the last knot. Short string. So I've got a scrap here. What we do is we have a little string going up, just like we started off with. We're going to end it the same way. And then with our short string, let's make a loop right here. And then we want this to start right at 2 inches, because that's what I figured out that I want. And we wrap this around tightly. Go around several times. We have our loop right here. Go around as many times as you think you need to. I think that right there is good enough. Now you take your end of the part that you are wrapping and go through the loop. And then that little piece, where'd it go? Oh, great. Where's the little piece going up? Can't find it. There it is. There it is. That little short piece, we pull it. And it's going to pull this knot right up inside. You can cut this. And then the rest of this will be like a tassel. You can just cut off each one about the same length. I think the scissors are getting dull. And it's finished. So there we have it, a hanging planter. Mission accomplished. Now I have two matching pots on either side of the entrance to my porch. If you found this video useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Who knows what I'll be creating next week. Actually, I have some really cool projects coming up that I'm not going to tell you about. You'll just have to subscribe so that you can come and watch. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. I'm attempting to upload a new video every Monday at 8 o'clock so you can start your day off on a positive light with a little bit of sunshine. See you then.